Hi, or as we say in Danish, good day. And perhaps you can guess what it means. It's the same as saying good day. But hello, and welcome here to week 29 in my Stitched Circle Show Challenge. And for those of you who are doing the challenge, put your fingers in your ear or go ahead a couple of minutes because you have heard this, what I'm saying here now many times. But if you don't know what it is, look at the playlist. It is down here in the description box or under the little word more, and you will find a playlist and find week 1, and there I would explain everything what this Stitched Circle Show challenge is about. It's a challenge, embroidery challenge, where we are following a set of simple Dogma rules, and I will explain there everything about what the Dogma Rules is. But there also is a link to a Facebook group you can be a member of if you want to do the challenge. Don't apply if you don't want to do the challenge. And what else? Yeah, there's also a link to how you can make a kind of cover if you want to make a book for your embroideries. It isn't a must. You can do with your embroideries whatever you want to do with them. You can sew them on a scroll, you can sew them on an old big piece of fabric or an old sheet, or you could put them in a box or buy a sketchbook, or do whatever you want to do with them. It isn't a must to have a book, but I think it is nice to have them here in my book. And as you can see, it is getting quite fat, and I'm a little excited about if the whole year can be here in this, but if not, I will make a new cover for it. I think that was hopefully a short version of this. So my name is Lisbeth and I'm Danish, so pardon my very incomplete or incomplete or bumpy English, but I think you can see what I'm doing and hopefully you can understand me anyhow. But let us get started here with what I've planned for week 29. So let me see. I started in the second signature here, and this is where I left you last time, week 28. Here I can come in here, and you can see why do you show us that? Yeah, it's because I want to remember what the colors of my fabric are here, because the rules for this week here is as following, and I will also write them under the video here so you quietly can read them, and of course they will be in the group on Facebook too. But the rules are as following. Rule number 1: one piece of light colored fabric. It could be off-white or creamy or so, but if you have a piece like I have here, I have dyed myself, and it is tea dyed, and I think there is what was it, a leaf, or if you have an eco dyed or a coffee or tea dyed piece of fabric, use that. And again, trace a circle, 1 circle. Rule number 2: only to use the coral stitch, and I want you to sew the trace line with the coral stitch, and then you must use the coral stitch in curvy lines or meandering lines wherever you want inside the circle. And rule number 3 is to use at least 6 different colors, and use colors you think looks nice to your previous spread or week 28, and that is why I wanted to look at that. And I have found these 6 different colors I think would look nice, and I would recommend you use a little thicker thread, because if you have a quite thin thread, it isn't nearly possible to see the coral stitch. It would look like pearls on a string, you can say. So a little heavier thread is better in this case here. So these were the 3 rules. So let us get started. I remember now what this was. It wasn't a leaf. It is a spice called turmeric. I think I have just sprinkled a little and it turns yellow. That is a way you can give your fabric a little more color. But this piece of fabric is a very thin, flimsy one, and you who have been following me here know I like to have a little more sturdier fabric to sew into. So I found an old piece of sheet or duvet cover or pillowcase, I can't remember what it was, and cut a piece that is nearly the same size but a little smaller and put it on the back, and then I will just sew the invisible bastings here so I can keep the 2 layers together. And you do that by coming up, and then you go 2 or 3 threads back and come up about a centimeter ahead of you, and that is quite simple. But I also think if you're one who sews your own clothes, you perhaps know this as a prick stitch. I think seamstress call it that. But it's a very nice way to piece 2 pieces of fabric together, and you can hardly see where the small dots are. And also it depends, of course, on what kind of color your thread is. This is just an ordinary machine sewing thread, and I have picked one I think will nearly disappear into the fabric in color. But you can, if you have a heavier piece of fabric, you don't need to do this. Or if you sew in a hoop, I don't think you need to do this. But I like to have a little more sturdy fabric to sew on. But I will do this all the way around, and then we can start the funny thing. So, done with the basting. Sorry, I'm a little rusty. And now I will trace my big circle here, and you can use a tin plate if you have one. You can use a compass, or go in your kitchen and find a cup or a plate. And I have this set here of things to punch cookies out with, so I think I will use that. And sorry if my head is coming in here, because I want to center it the best I can, but my phone is sitting right there. But I think that this here is good as anywhere. So I will just take a pencil and trace it, and there it is. And I'm sewing on the line, so it doesn't matter if you can see it clearly. It will disappear here. And then I want you to trace the circle with the coral stitch, and that is what I will do first, and then I will decide how my lines are going to be inside the circle here and what colors I will use where. But for those of you who don't know the coral stitch, it looks like this here. There is the coral stitch, and I can keep it for a little while, and you can take a screen dump there. But it is sewn like this, and even though it is it's quite easy stitch, I had a hard time finding a flow in it. But you come up here, and then you let your thread go like this in a bow here, and then you go under, here, and you take a small bite of the fabric and you go in the loop here and pull in your thread, and there you get a small knot. So again, I will just take a small bite here and go under the thread and up in the loop and pull my thread through here like this. And again, go under, take a small bite and under the thread and into the loop there. And there you got a small knot, and now I can see I'm hitting something else, so I think I will just end this and turn it the other way, and we can start all over again. So make my thread there, take a small bite under it, come up in the loop, and there you have a knot. Again, tie your thread like this, go in, and then you have a small knot. Perhaps you can do it in another work way than I'm doing it here, but this is there, and there you have the small knot again. And an important thing is that this loop here is in the right spot, because else you won't get a small knot. There. And there was the knot. So you can see they are lying there, the small knots. It's like bead on a row, in a row, you can say. So that I will start up here, and I think I have chosen this thread here. So I will just come up in the traced line there. Again. And you can decide how close you want your small beads in the loop there. And good, you have your first little knot. So I think I will make it 1/2 centimeter or so in the loop there. And that is why I said to you, take a thicker thread, because then you can see the knots. If you take a thin thread, I don't think it is possible to see the knots. They will disappear. And in the loop here, yeah. But I would continue all the way around. Just to show you again, and I think I have found some rhythm in this, so it gets in like a muscle memory. But my thread is coming up here, and it is curved that way here, like this. And then I just take a small bite here on the line, and then I go inside the loop there, and then you get a fine knot. Again, it is important, it is going to the left and you come up here like this. You take a small bite in the line, in the trace line, and go under the thread in the loop, and you come up here. Keep your thread there again, come up in the trace line, under the thread in the loop, and go in there. Put your thread over here again, take a small bite here on the line, in the loop. It is a little heavy here, the thread here, and there it is. And sometimes you can get it to lie nice. So you can see I found my rhythm in doing this, and it took me a while. Yeah, I don't know if it is not it because it's difficult, but you just have to remember these things here. And I don't know if becoming elder, it becomes more and more difficult to learn new things, or perhaps my brain isn't just wired for this stitch here. But I think it looks so nice, so I would like to use it. And perhaps when I'm done with this piece, I have got it in my hands, so I can remember it next time. But I will continue, and I'm nearly done with the circle. And when you're done the last coral knot, you just go into it and on the back side. And there it is. And doesn't it look very nice? So I will see what kind of other lines I will make. As I said, you have to make some waverly meandering lines, and where you will put them, that is totally up to you. And it is up to you if you just will go in and do something and do it as it comes or as it goes, or if you would perhaps trace some lines to sew over. Yeah, you decide where you will place them or what you will do. But I think I would like mine to somehow cross over each other here in the middle. So perhaps if I, yeah, but I don't think, can this be seen here? No, it can't. I will take my normal one here. But it's quite a big line it makes. There. And I think I will, that is like yin and yang, but yeah, of course you can also do that. But I will sew that first, and then I will decide when I would do the other ones. But I think I would like them somehow to cross over there. So now I will decide. I think I will just take this thread here. Yeah, I will thread it and be back and start it up and see how it looks. So done with the first line here, and I think I will turn it this way here and make another line. And I've just been sharpening this one so it won't be making such fat lines. So let us see if I can do that. Something like this. And I take in this yellow thread here, and I will just come up here again where the knot is. And most of the threads I have picked up here has been pearl cotton, because I think this is the thickest thread I have. So I will just go for the line. And there is a knot and a thread on my, just a little bite there, and up in the loop there, and here. Of course you can decide how close you want the coral knots here on the string, or how far between them you want. That is up to you and where you place it. But I will sew this line here and trace the next line and start another color up. So done with this line, and now I have drawn this line here, so I will start exactly the same as I have done all the other lines here. Make them curvy, meandering, waverly, or what. And in this ball game, when you choose to make your lines. So I'll come up here, go under, again, make my knot. And when you get the hang of it, it is in fact not very difficult. But you just have to find the easiest way for you to do it. There, and there was a small thread there. So I will make that line also and see what's next. So I've done a little more stitching, and now I have drawn the last line where I want to sew, and I have done lunch, and now I am ready. So I will take my darkest thread, the one I had on the outline, and come up here, there. And I have tried to mix the 6 different colors, and since 2 of the threads are variegated, it looks that as there are a lot more different threads than there is, but I have 6 different threads. So I will just take a little bite here and go in the loop there, and there was my first stitch. And sometimes they can be a little, like there's too much thread here between the knots, and you can always stick your needle in the knot and tie it a little more, so the thread between the knots lies nicer. And then again, take a little bite here on the line I have traced, and under there, and then you have a fine knot. And I think I have got the hang of it now. Under that thread there. I think the important thing is to have your thread lying in the right way before you do the stitch under it there, and pull through there, like that, and down with my thread so it is lying, so my stitch will be correctly, and up in the loop, and there. I will do the rest, and then I will find my book again and write my Dogma Rules in my book and put it in the book, but I will show it to you when I'm done. So, done with all my coral knots, and the embroidery looks fine to me. You don't have to place them like I have been placing them. You can place them wherever you want inside your trace circle. The only thing is they have to be wavery or curvy or meandering, and The rest is up to you. But I will take a picture before I put it in my book. I have already written the Dogma Rules on my paper, so I will do that. I don't mind all the fraying edges here, but if you don't like them, you can cut them off. But I think doesn't matter which way this is turning. And I don't mind that this isn't exactly slam bam in the middle. I don't mind that either. Just letting you know. So I will take my double-sided tape here and put it on here and burnish it down. And I hope I can get it off in the first try. Else I will do it out of camera because it is nerve-wracking. I mentioned. So, and here is my book. So here and here I have written the rules. So it is just try to center it the best I can here. Like this. And there it is. And I think these two look so nice together, and that is why I often ask you to use colors you think looks nice to the previous spread, because I like my spreads to look nice. If you don't put them in a book, that doesn't matter so much. But if you line them up in a row, there would be a certain way through the book, and or with the not in the book, but with the embroideries, wherever you place them or do with them, that they would look nice together. But I will take some close-ups at the end of the video, and I will just say I hope you have been enjoying this week's challenge, and I really hope to see a lot of different ones in the Facebook group and on Instagram, on the 2 hashtags we can use for that. I so enjoy seeing all your fine embroideries. There's big creativity out there, and some are really putting a lot of effort into this. You can of course use as much or as little time as you want on these challenges here. And that also, of course, also depends on how big or small you're making them. But that is up to you, how much effort or how much time you can put in this project here. But I really like to see what you all have been doing, and I'm so happy so many of you like to participate. But else, I would ask you to give my video a thumbs up, and please consider my little Danish channel. And hit the notification bell. That would help with all the algorithms for this little Danish channel. But I will just say take care and be creative, and see you next Thursday for week. Yeah, what was it I was saying here? It will be week 30. Oh my God, have we already gone so far? Yeah, we have. Of course, I can see my fat book, and I know that is correct. Now, enough of me, blah, blah, blah. Take care, be creative, and see you next Thursday. Bye-bye. Farvel.